Hello and welcome to the second part of this revision series. If you have seen the first video, you would know that we are looking at how love is presented as a memory in The Great Gatsby and poems from the Pre-1900 Love Anthology that is given by AQA for A-Level English Literature A. In the last video, we looked at The Garden of Love and how it compares with The Great Gatsby. In this video, we will look at Remember by Christina Rossetti, and we will explore the ways in which love can be presented as a memory in this poem and in The Great Gatsby. As with the previous video, I will share some critics that you could use in your exam for AO5 should this question or a similar one come up. Firstly, love can be seen as a memory in Remember, as the persona memorializes and immortalizes her love in the poem. The title Remember highlights the importance of memory for the persona, as she hopes her lover would remember her. The structure is that of a sonnet, a quintessential love poem. It mirrors a Shakespearean one, but it subverts it a little. Perhaps this is so that the poem itself is memorable. Its differences stand out, making it unforgettable. We can compare this to The Great Gatsby, as Fitzgerald created this novella in an attempt to make it new, as Ezra Pound coined in the early 20th century. The narrative also mirrors that of a memory. Nick Carraway is the narrator in the novella, where he is homodiegetic, both within and without, as he influences the novel. Much like when you recall a memory and tell it to someone, you are part of the memory, whilst you also assume the role of a narrator. The retrospective narrative adds to the memory quality of the tale, as well as the love presented in the text. Moreover, love can be seen as a memory in Remember, as a persona wants her lover to remember her when she has gone away. Perhaps the persona will die soon, or she is leaving the relationship. Perhaps too she is merely travelling away and she wants her lover to remember her when she has gone into the silent land. Here we see love as a memory, as the poem urges the lover to remember the persona as a way to love her. Rossetti repeats the imperative verb remember 5 times throughout the poem, and this suggests that love is a memory. Similarly, love is a memory for Gatsby, as he pleads for Daisy to tell Tom the truth, that she never loved him. Here Gatsby wants to go back to the past, to get married to Daisy from her house, just as it were 5 years ago. Love is a memory for Gatsby, as he dies whilst pursuing Daisy. His image and ideal of Daisy haunt him, and he keeps trying to win her and reach out for her. Perhaps much like the way in which he reaches out for the green light, and he never seems to get it. Here we could also see the green light as a symbol for money and wealth. Gatsby is a farmer's son, and he grew up as J. Gat, a poor boy who turns out to be a poor man growing up. And so maybe the green light is his way to get that wealth. It is a symbol for money. The American dollars are green, and perhaps this is his American dream after all. Furthermore, Rossetti's speaker in the poem is stuck in the past. One interpretation of the poem is that the speaker is speaking beyond the grave to assert control over her relationship. Indeed, there is no concrete description of the future they would share, rather it is merely planned by the lover, whilst the speaker looks forward to the silent land. Perhaps the past to the speaker is synonymous to the darkness and corruption, as well as the vestige of thoughts that had once haunted her. She remains indifferent to her own circumstances, yet she wishes for her lover, if one could call them that, to forget and smile if it would be easier than to remember and be sad. Here we see an approach that is left in the hands of the lover. They are left with the choice to remember or forget. Indeed, this juxtaposes the start where the imperative remember is used as a first word as well as a title. So over here we could ask ourselves, what does this suggest? Does she want the lover to remember, or is it just a backhanded comment? Similarly, Fitzgerald presents Gatsby as a man infatuated with Daisy for 5 years. Much like the speaker in Rossetti's poem, it seems as though Gatsby hopes to be remembered by Daisy. However, they share an uncommunicable future, much like the future that the speaker's lover plans and remember, but never shares with her. Gatsby dies and Daisy returns to her vast carelessness. The noun carelessness suggests a forgotten memory. Daisy regards Gatsby as a long-lost memory. This is shown when Nick asks if she knows a Gatsby, and she replies, "Gatsby? What Gatsby?" This contrasts with Gatsby, who still lives in the past and wants to repeat it, unlike Rossetti's speaker. And perhaps one interpretation of this might be that Rossetti's speaker endures abuse or neglect in her relationship. It is certainly one-sided. The lover plans a future, but they never get to share it. And it seems as though Rossetti's speaker wants to leave the relationship. When she says, "half turn to go, yet turning stay," it's a bit ambiguous ambiguous, this line. What does that suggest? In addition, Rossetti presents love as a memory, as her speaker escapes her past memories as she half turns to go, yet turning stay. The ambiguity of this suggests that the speaker is trying to escape her past memories, the vestige of thoughts and the darkness and corruption. Here, this gives a negative connotation of their relationship. In contrast, Nick in The Great Gatsby cherishes Gatsby and Gatsby's dream to be with Daisy. Nick talks of Gatsby as a man who tries to hide away from his past. Here, love for Gatsby is presented as a shameful memory, as he was poor when he met Daisy. Remember that the American dream is about individuals becoming who they want to be, and not being held back by social and economic constraints. Yet when Gatsby does this with his extraordinary gift for hope, he fails. Gatsby's main goal and dream is to get enough money to be legitimate enough for Daisy to marry him. He hides from his past of being a farmer's son, J. Gat, and it's only Nick that reveals this past of Gatsby. Gatsby tells Nick in confidence and Nick tells us. Perhaps Nick does this to cherish Gatsby's dream and his past, and he doesn't see it as so shameful as Gatsby sees it himself. Now that we have explored the ways in which love is a memory in both Remember and The Great Gatsby, we can look at the critics for AO5 that can help us answer this question in the exam, should this question come up. For Remember, Theo Dombrowski says, Rossetti's poetry is an attempt to use words to overcome the fundamental bifurcations that distressed her life and so deeply characterized her sensibility. Here perhaps Rossetti's poem is semi-autobiographical, maybe it is just biographical of the woman she witnessed coming into the nunnery when she worked there to help these young women escape their past, escape their abusive relationships. Perhaps the speaker is one of these women she met. Now, for The Great Gatsby, P. Stavely says Gatsby, like America itself, strives to reach a place he has created in his own mind, an impossible perfect. Now, we can link this to, again, the American dream. Anyone who sets out to achieve this American dream is almost setting themselves to fail, Gatsby included. And he has this vision in his head to get Daisy and to make her tell Tom she didn't love him ever and she could go off with him. But this never really happens. It doesn't go quite as he planned. Perhaps Fitzgerald does this as a critique of the American dream. Moreover, Lev Grossman says, Gatsby lays bare the empty, tragic heart of the self-made man. The self-made man here is the man that Gatsby is, that J. Gats is. He's not a young Raja searching and digging for rubies in Asia. In fact, he is the man of the American dream. Gatsby is the American dream in some sense. Now, thank you for watching, and I hope this has helped you. I would like to remind you to subscribe and to press that bell for post notifications, so whenever I upload, you get some resources to help you in your exam, and hopefully this could help you in your exam should this question or a similar one come up. Stay tuned, and more themes and more poems will be discussed for paper 1 for this exam.